Hello, hopefully you enjoyed this upcoming performance from National eTheatr. If you do, well, all of the artists taking part in this project, writers, directors and actors, are self-employed and currently unemployed thanks to the coronavirus outbreak here in the UK. And so if you want to support them, you can do so by visiting the links, which will be in the description below the video, and you can donate as little or as much as you want to and feel able to. That money will all be distributed evenly among all the artists taking part. If you can't do that, at the very least, we'd love you to be able to share the videos on your social media accounts, on Facebook, on Twitter, with a friend who might be missing their weekly trip to the theatre. Anyone you think might enjoy it, that is also a massive help. You can follow the project and be alerted to any upcoming videos by following the channel, which you can do so up above, or you can follow us on Twitter on @National eTheatr. Thank you for watching, and sit back now and enjoy the show.
Hello, hello. This is His Majesty's live streaming service, and I am Mrs. Richardson, providing you with delicious and easily prepared home-cooked meals to keep the wolf from the door, just like Mr. Churchill, who's busy keeping Wolf from the door. You do not need a restaurant-ready kitchen to eat well. You've heard it before, and you'll hear it again. Mine is like any old kitchen, really. Some good heavy pans, a well-tended range, and a larder that's been stocked with a little bit of thought and care. The main thing to remember is that the kitchen is your friend. It's all your friends. Perhaps you found it a little harder to leave the house quite as often as you did. Perfectly understandable. We have had some rather heavy rain recently, and the blitz. Well, you make your friends where you can, and I am absolutely besotted with my kitchen. She's a rugged old thing and we get on like a house on fire. Can you believe it has been 98 weeks that I have had the pleasure of speaking with you, the dear home cook? And I know it's 98 weeks because look at this. This is the telegram I received, which told me Mr. Richardson, my husband, Christopher, died defending a church. And do you know, that detail stuck with me this week. What do you think about this? I think if you die defending a church, well, that's got to count for something. The reason I'm showing you this is, look here, the date, 98 weeks ago today, which is exactly the number of weeks that you and I have been engaged in this cookery course. I like to think of the kitchen as a real person, with my little game. Hello, small pot. Hello, big pot. Good afternoon, the knives. How are the children? Well, I shall ask them myself. Why not? Hello, Kiddywinks. Oh, I shall use one of you to stir some sugar in my tea later. Won't that be fun? Christopher wanted 4 children. Came up with some very silly names for them. Can you imagine being called Jack? Well, I think not. Probably for the best that he... Ladle, do beg my pardon. I didn't mean to forget you. Have you had a good week? What have I got bubbling away? This is soup, chicken and mushroom, and awfully easy to make for me. It's no good bunging in the ingredients and the water and hoping for the best. For me, I've made so many soups, it's like clockwork. And after a while, well, the fundamentals become a part of you, and then you can start to experiment. I'm adding some crispy sage into this one. No, No, come on, you can do better than that. I'll add a bit more salt. They can take a bit of work. I was at my club yesterday. I haven't been in a while. I used to go all the time. They do very interesting talks. Did you know the Messerschmitt is actually a Hungarian design? Herr Hitler, you thief! J'accuse, if you're watching. Oh, it isn't just the talks. A very delightful crowd of people. I saw several familiar faces yesterday and had a slice of very familiar lemon drizzle. Took me right back to when we used to go. When they used to throw the most wonderful parties at the club. Everyone dressed in their finery. Very good dinners. And if it was a warm night, they'd be dancing outside. There's a paved area and a fountain and... Wonderful. I have a dress upstairs just waiting to be brought out for the next one, whenever that will... The secret to a good soup is in the stock. Well, you can't just put it all together and hope for the best. No, you need to boil the bones with a bunch of herbs and some root vegetables for a good few hours. Oh, use the feet. You can take them out after. And the head. They can be a little dull. The trick is not to give up. Yesterday, they had done out the events room with bunting and cakes and teas and coffees, and it was all very lively. I met a young woman, a Miss Melville, Angelique. French, on one side. She had an accent, but hard to place. Very interesting woman. Such a sense of humour. She tells limericks, and let me tell you, they're filthy. I didn't know where to put my face. An awful lot of laughter. Very interesting. She grew up helping with a circus. We stood in a sort of circle, and Miss Melville, well, she seemed to find the centre of that. Some people, it comes naturally to, I suppose. She has a weak posture, and she should look after that. I, of course, was taught gymnastics when I was a little younger than her, because I went to a school, and my posture is very good. You've written in your drove since last week. Let's have a look at the pile. Margaret from Edinburgh, the new. She asks whether I'm French because I speak it so well. No, not a jot. But my parents were friends with an awful lot of very recherche artists. You pick it up. This gram is from Gertie in Sydney. Good day, Gertie. Why should we keep our spirits up? For who? Gertie, keep them up for yourself. Well, that's the way it is sometimes. You can put in an awful lot of work and the soup just won't cooperate. Remember, it is never your fault. That's all I have time for today. If you've enjoyed this, do send me a comment by telegram, and if you're really keen, send one with the word subscribe. I am Mrs. Richardson. Good morning to you all. Oh, it breaks me up. Really it does. You've been together for so long, the four of you, and here I come, clumsy as I don't know what, knocking one of you off the counter. Oh, I can't bear it. Really, I can't. Dear old plates, can you ever forgive me? Hello. This is His Majesty's line streaming service, and I'm Mrs. Richardson, a self-taught but jolly enthusiastic home cook, here to tell you all about some of the things that I have been cooking while all this goes on. Will you catch me in rather a fraught moment? You see, it was a plate. I was putting it in the oven to warm, not looking what I was doing, and crash! All over the floor, tiny pieces. Oh. 99 weeks. Can you believe it? 99 though. It doesn't seem possible. Time just falls away. One moment you're speaking to a rather ugly man in a uniform about how your husband will be awarded a posthumous medal for bravery, and the next you... Glass of water. Yes? He didn't have to stay, you see, at the church. He could have run. But Mr. Richardson, Christopher, he was very obstinate. Oh, come on. 1 drop for you, 1 drop for you, and 1 drop for you. I haven't seen the medal. There must be a backlog. Probably all sorts of husbands being blown up outside churches. I expect you can't move in the Ardennes for beautiful little churches, beautiful little front steps, and husbands just falling apart on them. Perhaps when this is all over, there'll be tours. Drop more, drop more, drop more. I was back at the club yesterday. Another very interesting talk. The Spitfire F uses piano hinges. It was a warm day, and they were good enough to crack out the garden furniture, on condition, of course, that we go inside should there be a raid. Well, I was ready for it this time. I got out there first and took up possession for the circle. I stood next to a statue and took up the pose. Rather jolly. And we could have been twins. Nobody commented. Miss Melville was feeling a little weak, and we all decided to sit. They were short a chair, but they went to look for another for me. And I kept my pose. I didn't know how not to. Nobody commented. Miss Melville is fascinating. She's travelled extensively, as you might expect. Been to so many places. America, France, of course. She has a floppy sort of quality. Can't seem to sit straight. Tells so many jokes. Speaks 5 languages. None fluently. And not just speaks, sings. She sang us a song. In Turkish. I've never heard Turkish before. Very interesting. And Miss Melville has a young man. She told us all about him. He's serving in Greece. Well, he sounds energetic. They're always off on adventures, or they were, she told us. They did the pilgrim's route in Spain. It must be Catholic. Very spontaneous sort of life. Personally, I like a good night in, but it takes all sorts, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Miss Melville hears from her beau every week, but not this week. No letter this week. Oh, she was a little upset, the poor dear. It can be difficult, can't it? The uncertainty. Well, everyone gathered around with hankies and cups of tea and so on, and there I am, still waiting for a chair, still standing like a statue, pretending to ride a stone horse. The recipe for today is mixed berry jam. Well, I'm not going to tell you which berries to use because I can't see your hedges. I'm using gooseberry and red currant, fairly typical, and 1 wild strawberry. The others haven't come through. Well, it needs a bit more sugar. A bit more. A bit more. That is good. Yes, that's very good. Oh, aren't you clever? You see, you've applied yourself, and here we are. Oh, well, that That is awfully good. You must try some. Here, go on. Some for you, some for you, and some for you. Oh yes, it's marvellous. Don't be modest. The secret is all in the ratio. Twice the fruit to the sugar. That's 2 to 1. It's very simple. 2 to 1. It's like a dance. 2 to 1. 2 to 1. 2 to... Anything can be like a dance if you think about it. If you can have a sense of humour, it'll get you through almost anything. That's what I always say. Just keep smiling. Too many leaves in the garden. Pick up a rake and waltz. Well, that's all we have time for today. I am Mrs. Richardson. Good morning.
The way the minutes treat me, I know it's a shame. Deep down in my heart, I know that I'm not to blame. I may left me cold, said he wasn't coming back.
Hello, this is Mrs. Richardson for His Majesty's live streaming service. Isn't the kitchen sparkling today? This sunshine, gorgeous light twinkling off this and that. I think if you leave someone to get on with their own business, don't interfere too much. They absolutely shine. There's nothing I enjoy more than seeing a dear friend being their absolute best. I was back at the club yesterday, 3rd week in a row. Aren't I the socialite? Hot air balloons are so called because of their hot air. Well, the talk wasn't as good, but after the talk, I had the most wonderful time. It was a little later in the day, and we all adjourned for a meal. Lapin au apricot, thank you very much. And a very gluggable wine. And everybody asked me what I've been up to. And I told them, well, all about you, the dear home cook, and how I show you what to cook and show you this and that, and they were all very impressed and congratulated me on such a good initiative. And I remembered a few jokes that Christopher used to tell. He told the funniest jokes. Very long stories, and I did my best to do them justice. And, oh, I quite felt like I was holding court. And we had shortbread biscuits and sorbet and coffees, and we all swapped places, sit with someone new. I had a little one-to-one with Miss Melville. You lovely girl. Woman. She was in high spirits. She had heard from her young man. He's been hospitalised. Oh, she wasn't in high spirits about that. Quite the reverse. He's lost an arm, poor thing. But it means he's coming home. You understand. Afterwards, I felt quite my old self. I said to the staff, why don't you get out those instruments? There's plenty of educated people here. I'm sure we can make them do something. Oh, and it was so wonderful, dancing. I said to Miss Melville, dear, why don't you sing? And she obliged. Today, we are cooking a hearty half-French stew. Ragout de Mademoiselle Melville. The secret is in the stock. You want the head and feet to be doing their work for a good 6 hours, and then you can add the other ingredients. Just layer them in. Delicious. Delicious.